The story of snuff, powder, prestige, and the passing of a habit. Long before the word snuff ever drifted across European lips, it was part of a sacred ritual in the Americas. Deep in the forests of South America, long before Columbus set sail, the native people dried tobacco leaves, ground them to powder, and inhaled them, not for pleasure, but for prayer. To them, tobacco was medicine, a bridge between earth and spirit. Then came the explorers. When the Spanish reached these new lands in the 15th century, they watched in awe as people drew the powdered leaf into their noses. They carried the habit home across the sea, and suddenly the humble tobacco plant began its march through history. By the 1560s, a French diplomat named Jean Nicot, yes, the man who gave us the word nicotine, sent powdered tobacco to Queen Catherine de Medici of France. She took it for her headaches and declared it wonderful. And just like that, snuff became fashionable at court, an instant sensation among nobles and royals. Before long, the taking of snuff was an art form. Gentlemen tapped their elegant gold or ivory snuff boxes, lifted a graceful pinch to the nose, inhaled lightly, and, with great decorum, reached for a lace handkerchief. It wasn't simply tobacco, it was a theater. Kings, queens, and generals all took their pinch. Frederick the Great of Prussia filled entire rooms with snuff boxes. Queen Charlotte of England earned the affectionate nickname Snuffy Charlotte. And Napoleon Bonaparte, restless even in his vices, took snuff by the handful, leaving brown smudges on his famous uniform. But snuff wasn't just for the rich. By the 1800s, it had found its way into humbler homes, the pockets of farmers, the hands of miners, the rail cars of working men. They made their own blends, coarse, unscented, and practical. The fancy bergamot and violet oils of Europe gave way to something simpler, a pinch for a pause in a long day's work. Making snuff was its own kind of craft. The leaves were aged and dried, then ground fine and scented with oils of rose, wine, or spice. The best blends were aged like fine brandy, mellowed, rich, and smooth. Some families guarded their recipes like heirlooms, passing them down through generations. But every era has its new habit. In the late 19th century, cigarettes arrived, faster, easier, and cleaner. And with them, the age of the snuff box began to fade. What had once been the mark of refinement became the memory of another time. Still, snuff never quite vanished. In parts of Europe, Africa, and India, it lingers quietly, a habit passed from hand to hand. And in antique shops, under soft lights, you can still find those little snuff boxes, gold, silver, or tortoiseshell, tiny works of art that whisper stories of elegance, habit, and human curiosity. From the sacred rituals of the Americas to the jeweled boxes of kings and queens, and finally to the pockets of ordinary folk, snuff has traveled the whole arc of history. Once sacred, then royal, then ordinary, and now nearly forgotten. But in its rise and fall, it tells a timeless truth that every generation finds its own way to take a breath and leave a trace. Fun facts. In the 18th century, some doctors even recommended snuff as a remedy for colds and headaches. Snuff boxes became precious heirlooms. Gold, silver, tortoiseshell, and jeweled designs were works of art. A 19th century etiquette guide warned, "One should never sneeze in company after taking snuff. Retire first."
Well, down in Hoot and Holler where the moonshine drips, lives a feller with a beard and a lip full of snuff tips. He's short, he's scrappy, and he'll fight if he must, but mostly he's napping while collecting the dust. Oh, Snuffy Smith, you ornery soul, got a jug in the barn and a heart of gold. Louise keeps hollering, Snuffy, you quit, but he just grins wider and says, I'll get to it. He's dodging the sheriff and skipping out of chores, sneaking through the briars to the backwoods stores. Jube heads barefoot running up the hill, while Snuffy's in the shade getting cooler still. Oh, Snuffy Smith, that lazy man, he's got work avoidance down to a plan. He'll talk all day, but he won't lift a bit. He's the pride of the holler, and he knows it by grit. When the parson calls, he hides a jug, but after church he gives it a hug. He's got his friends and he's got his ways, living off biscuits and Louise. He's praised by the crackling fire. The stories ignite about Snuffy and his mischief under the moonlight. Plenty of laughter and a drink or two in that holler. They all know what's true. Oh, Snuffy Smith, you rascal, you, with your hat pulled low and your dreams in view, dancing through life with a wink and a grin. We wouldn't trade a thing, let the good times begin. So here's to Snuffy, a legend in our time, with tales of his charm and a heart full of rhyme. In hoot and holler, he reigns supreme, with moonshine in hand and a life that's a dream.